Good morning, everybody, and hope you're hope you're doing great. And we're on to another section after chapter 3.1, 2, and 3. The next topic that we're going to be taking a look at would be on what's called slope. And if you recall the last video you might have looked at, you had a form of a line that may have been called slope-intercept form, slope y-intercept form. But the whole idea is about slope. You heard the word slope. Imagine, oh my gosh, I've heard about this, the amount of snow actually that Lake Tahoe was getting last night. And all the ski areas, of course, are closed because of the situation that we're all living in right now. But imagine that you wanted to go up to Lake Tahoe after the big dumping of snow, and it was this beautiful powder, and you're a skier or a snowboarder, and you wanted to go and enjoy the snow. And those of you that are not very good, you're going, not even called the bunny hills, you're going down, you're just getting started off. So you're looking at level land. You're not going anywhere on your skis, are you? Well, you can't imagine going anywhere. You'd have to push yourself. You're not going anywhere. But if you're going down the bunny hills, let's go a little bit like this. I don't know if they still have rope toes, but you get to the top of the rope toe and you let go. Yeah, you're going somewhere. So think of this as slope. You're going down a slope, no moguls, no bumps or whatever. And you're going down, but let's say you're at the top of Heavenly Valley, and then you're at, I think it's even steeper than that, top of Heavenly Valley. Let's say you're at top of Heavenly Valley and you're maybe on a black diamond like this. That's steeper, right? That's steeper versus bunny, versus, some people would call this no slope. We're going to call it the number 0. So anytime it's flat like this for a line, use the digit or the word 0. Never use the word no slope. Never, ever. It's not going to be part of your answer anyway. No slope. Little steeper. So think of slope eventually as a number that describes the steepness. So maybe that's a number 1. And then you got a little bit more, that's 2. And a little bit more, maybe that's 10. And then you go a little bit higher, maybe that's 100. Like, where am I getting these numbers? I don't know, just bigger, a little bit more. And that's even bigger, and pretty soon it's so big that we just don't have a number to describe. Well, infinity, but how do you describe infinity as a number? Yeah, so we're going to call it undefined. Anytime you have a vertical line, that's undefined. So let's start off this again. All right, so there's 0. And by the way, the direction of the line describes whether it's negative or positive. So we'll start this over again. So I think the way you're looking at it, okay, up to the right. It looked like it's up to the right. Yeah, up to the right is positive. Down to the right is negative. So there's 0, there's 0, up to the right. Okay, so that would be up to the right. That's like positive 7. And slope turns out to be a fraction as well. Okay, and then down to the right, maybe that's a little smaller. That's like negative 3. So there's a formula to help us describe and even find the number for slope, and that's what I want to show you next. So let me get to the screenshot or screen share again that we've done before. And some of this might feel familiar if you've taken a high school algebra class at some point in time in your life. And if not, this is new. Slope is going to be described as in terms of a variable, the letter m. And let me kind of show you right here. Y equals mx plus b. This is called slope, S-L-O-P-E, slope, y-intercept form. Intercept form. Slope is the number, the numerical coefficient in front of the variable x, and the y-intercept is that number right there, which as an x component, the x component would be 0. So it would be like 0 comma b, 0 comma whatever that number is. But let's say we don't have the equational line right now. All we have is just two ordered pairs. And you plot them and you wonder, hey, if you connected the dots, you're going to get a line and you'll have some kind of steepness. How do you find that number? This is the expression that you're going to use to find the number. We use a word, rise over run, or the difference of the y's over the difference of the x's. And if we had, as an example, -4, 4, 8, -8, I said that wrong, 8, -2. This line that looks like you can see it in blue is kind of steep, and the direction is down to the right. So remember, down to the right is going to be negative. The ultimate number we're finding, the fraction, because it turns out the slope is a fraction, is going to be negative. So let's see how that works. So this is your x, and this is your x, and of course this is your y, and this is your y. And then what you have to decide, you can see the numbers up here, you have to decide which one is the first x and y, which one's the first ordered pair, and which one's the second one. And it really doesn't matter. You get to pick whoever's first. Just because I read from left to right. That's how I read. I know there's some books out there, especially for kids, novels. I think they can go backwards. They read from the back of the book towards the front of the book. Yeah. So in here, at least the way I was trained in school, I read from left to right, top to bottom. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go from left. This is my first one. And then right, my second ones. So here's my first x and y, here's my second x and y. And that's basically what I've done down here. My first ones and my second ones. And now you're just going to take the formula that you see right here and then plug everything in. Be very careful because of the negatives. It gets kind of screwy. And so I put parentheses around, for instance. You might want to consider doing this if it helps. Put parentheses around all that. So what you do is you take y sub 2, so there's negative, there's -2. See that subtraction sign is always there. So -2 subtract 4. -2 subtract 4. And then you've got 8 subtract a negative. See how I went 8 subtract the parentheses. That's huge. -4. 8 subtract -4. And of course the denominator, 2 negatives make a positive. -2 subtract 4 is -6. Reduce, -1/2. So that's a number that describes the steepness. And negative just tells you that it's down to the right, and 1/2 means it's kind of flat. That doesn't look really flat, but it's certainly, that line is flatter than, say, that line. That would be a bigger fraction number. Of course, would we say that a line that's vertical, remember that? Vertical line, you use the phrase undefined. Can you imagine skiing down a slope that looks like this? Here's the mountain. There's the mountaintop. Here's your lodge down here, smoking, getting ready for hot chocolate. You want to get down there, and here you are right up here. And you want to ski down this way. Yeah, that's called death and destruction. That's called hospitalization, something. I don't think you're going to get your hot chocolate, at least not in this life. So this would be, that's called undefined. This slope right here was described as -1/2. So let's take a look and do some more problems. So here's two ordered pairs. I'm going to say this is my first X and Y. This is my second X and Y. You're going to use this formula right here. By the way, in the formula, the letter Y, the Y parts are always in the numerator, and the letter X is always in the denominator. Okay, so, and that's the Y. If you think the Y axis, that's the rise. That's up and down. See right here, up and down. And then run is left and right, left and right. I'll show you how that works in a moment, if we have time, on a graph. All right, and then over here, you got X of 2, subtract X of 1. And then, so the second Y is, what is that, 10 right here? There's always a subtraction sign right here. That subtraction sign is always there. And then subtract 7. And then 5, subtract 2. 10 minus 7 is 3 over 3. Simplify it, maybe 1. And when it says find the slope, I just did. It's the number 1. Okay, this is your X first, and this is your Y first. This is your second. So you go M equals. You know, there's a number of negatives, so be careful. Remember, there's always a subtraction sign in between the two numbers. So here we go. The second Y, which is right here, I'll put that in parentheses. And then you subtract the first Y, the second X, subtract the first X. See, that's a -2 right there. See, that's the one that oftentimes will get students because they forget to put the extra negative because the number is negative. Okay, the numerator, that's -4. The denominator is 4 plus 2, or -4 over 6, or -2/3. Now, if I were to just sketch this and show you what this looks like, remember this slope is 1, so it's not very steep, and it's positive. So the line, when you connect the dots, should be up to the right. Let's plot the points, just sketch them real quick. Remember, this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. Okay, 2, 7. 2, this might be 2 here, and 7 might be up here. I won't even put that over there. Let me erase that, because I'm going to put my dot right where it was. Let's put this as 7. 2, 7's right there. And then the next one's 5, 10, so maybe 5's right here, and 10's a little higher. See how if you connect the dots, it's going to be up to the right? That's all positive means, it's up to the right. Negative would be down to the right. All right, so, okay, this is my first, just because I see it first, it's my first. Maybe I'll do this 2 different ways to show you. It doesn't matter which one's first. So I'll start off with this one, saying this is my first, here's my second. My M is equal to second, subtract first, second, subtract first, 4 over 3 plus 2, 4 over 5. Let's try it another way. So instead of this first, let's make this one second. And this one's first. What I'm saying is the number when I do this is going to be exactly the same. So it doesn't matter who's first and who's second. So here's M. So remember, it's y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, now in red, y's first. 1 is first, and then subtract 5. And then negative 2 is first, and then subtract 3. 1 subtract 5 is negative 4, and that's negative 5, which is still 4 over 5. Same thing, see? Same thing, same thing. Okay, this one here, here's your first, here's your first, second, m equals, remember it's the y's, it's rise over run, so it's the y's first. 4 minus 4 over negative 3 subtract 6. So that's 0 over negative 9, which is 0. So if you plotted these 2 points, you're going to get a line that is, we would call it horizontal. You get a line that's horizontal if you plotted those. So the slope of a horizontal line is always this. The slope of a vertical line, we will just use the word phrase undefined. In my class, never, ever, ever, never say no slope. I don't care which textbook might have used it. Don't ever say that, because students get it confused. Some students think no slope is the number 0. That would be that. And some students would think that no slope, yep, that's undefined, means no. So it's too confusing. So don't ever use the word no slope. Okay, next one. Here's your first. Here's your second. M equals second minus first over 5 minus 5. That's 3 over 0. You can never divide by 0, ever, ever. So this is undefined. Watch what happens when I plot this. Okay, 5 comma 5. So this is 5 and 5. This is 5 and 5. Let's see, right here. And then 5 comma 8. So up here, here's 8. And this is 5. Connect the dots. Vertical line. Slope is undefined. Vertical line, slope is undefined. Okay, it doesn't matter who's first. Oh, let's make this one just for the heck of it. This one's first. It doesn't matter who's first. M equals, okay, so remember it's y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over the second x subtract the first x. Okay, this case, I said this one's the second one. So negative 4 subtract 7. And this is negative 3 subtract, but I put parentheses, negative 8 on this one. Negative 11 over negative 3 plus 8, which is negative 11 over 5. And for these guys, again, I'm doing the same thing just to show you that I just did this one already, but I'll do it again. 5 comma 5, 5 comma 8, draw the line. Slope is undefined. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Okay, with this being negative right here for these guys, it should be a line that goes down to the right, should be. So let's see, negative 3 comma negative 4, so negative 3 comma negative 4, and then negative 8 comma 7. So this would be negative 8 comma 7. Yeah, see, down to the right. Just like I said, kind of steep. Here's your X and here's your Y. Okay, a little visual representation on that. All right, now on to that equation that I was describing to you about, y equals mx plus b. That right there, m, is called slope, S-L-O-P-E. So m is the slope. So in this particular problem, slope is 5/9, 5 over 9. And the y-intercept is 3. Sometimes we would write just the number 3, or sometimes I'll say or. You can go 0, 3. Doesn't matter. So it has to be in this form where y is all by itself. It has to be. This one here, it's not in, that's in standard form. This is not in y by itself. So simply get y all by itself. That means add 4x to both sides. And if I want to find the slope, m equals 4. I want to find the y-intercept, which is that would be 0, 7. Okay, this one here, same thing, get the y by itself. A little bit more work, a little bit more work. I'm going to move the 7x to the right first. That means these guys are gone. And then I got negative 2y is equal to, all right, now these are not like terms. I highly recommend, matter of fact, I require, let's say, you put the x first and then the 8 comes last. Put the x part first. So you need to set it up in that form. So I require the x first. Now get rid of the negative 2, and you don't add it because it's being multiplied. You divide by negative 2 everywhere. And reducing, simplifying, 2 negatives make a positive. And positive negative is a negative, and that's 4. So over here, slope is 7 over 2. Y-intercept is 0, negative 4. I want to, so I want to show you something in terms of graphing. Let's do this one here. Actually, I want to do this one. When I have an equation that looks like this, the old-fashioned way of this one, back in chapter 3, section 1 and 2, maybe even section 3, earlier, you would have done a t-table. Remember that? This would be x and y. And you'd have 3 ordered pairs. You have 3 ordered pairs. And you'd probably let x be 0 and find your y, and that would have been your, say, your y-intercept. You would have done x is 0 and found your y. Make x 0, and you'd find out that your y is going to be negative 4. See, you're still going to end up with your y-intercept being what we found out if you solve for y. And then you'd find another ordered pair right here, and then you'd connect the dots. I'm going to show you something that if you had it in this form right here that I'm pointing to, if you started right here, you start at the y-intercept, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is negative 4 right here. That's negative 4. I don't know if you can see that. Let's bring that in. If you start at negative 4, this is rise over run. 7 is rise. 2 is run. Rise over run. So do the rise first. That's the up and down, up and down. If it's positive, it goes up. If it's negative, it goes down. Rise 7. Just count the tick marks. Go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, gotta put more tick marks. So start it over again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. The origin's a tick mark too. 5, 6, 7. Don't put a dot there yet until you've gone over 2. Remember, the run is 2. 1, 2. Draw your line. And you're done. Like that. You don't need to make a table of values of 3 anymore. You can just have it in this form where y is by itself. And you always start at the y-intercept, and then you do the slope, rise over run. Okay, another concept that we're going to be wrapping up this section 3.4 with about slope, parallel lines. Now, you've heard of parallel lines, and you probably know what they look like. For instance, red and blue parallel lines, they don't touch. They don't touch. These two lines right here, blue and red, they're going to touch somewhere. If this one went all the way through, they're going to touch. Parallel lines don't touch. So parallel lines have the same slope. I mean, think about it. It's the same steepness. It's the same slope. So parallel lines on intersect, they have the same slope. Perpendicular lines. Now, perpendicular lines would look, well, it'll look like the grid right here, the axis. If red and blue are lines, those are perpendicular. They form a 90-degree angle. So if two lines are perpendicular, the slopes are two pieces. They're two different things. They're opposite signs, so one's positive, one's negative, and reciprocals. You guys know what reciprocals mean at this stage. It's the fraction, here you go. Hello. It's the fraction that's flip-flop like this. So reciprocal means this, opposite means just change the sign. So I'm going to look at this one here. Remember slope-intercept form. See, both of them have the same slope. I'll do this one blue. And this one will be in red. So blue, start at 7. 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Oh, can't see it, but I'm going to make a nice big fat dot right there. All right, now with the slope being negative, m equals negative 1 over 2, you get to pick. You can't do both, but you get to pick where you want to put the negative. Either in the numerator or the denominator, either with the y's or the x's. I'm going to put it with the y's. So this means down then, and this means right. Okay, so the numerator is rise, so you're either up or down. Since it's negative, it's going to go down. And the denominator number is the left and right. That's the run. And you're going to go right because it's positive. So we start right here. Well, we start at the y-intercept. And we're going to go down 1, down 1. Okay, don't put a dot there yet until you've done your right. 1, 2. And we'll do it again. Down 1, 1, 2. Down 1, 1, 2. That's enough. That's 4 points. That's enough. And now in red, we do it again. We just start at a different place, which is negative 1, which is right here. And see, this slope, m, equals negative 1 over 2. I'll just put, just for the heck of it, I'll put the negative with the 2, because it doesn't matter. Negative with a 2. I'll still get the same steepness, same line. This says go up 1 and left 2. Up 1, left 2, because the negative's with the 2, go left. So from here, I go up 1, left 2, 1, 2. Up 1, left 2. You see, when I connect the dots, the lines have the same steepness. They're parallel. Okay, so that's some parallel lines. And this would be the same if you graph this one. Now, graphing this, you got to get y by itself. That's the work that you got to do. Get y by itself. Like that. And then over here has got a little bit more work. So I'm going to move the 5x over first. And now divide by 2. Now you could ask yourself, I would, are those things parallel? Remember, parallel lines have the same slope. You see how the slopes are not the same at all. So they're not going to be parallel. And now look at the slopes. You see how they're opposite signs and the numbers are the same, but they're flip-flopped. So the reciprocals. So because they're opposite signs and the reciprocals, these are going to be perpendicular. These are going to be perpendicular. So if this one is blue and maybe this one is red, that one's red, this one's blue. Okay, now you got to start at negative 3/5. Now, I don't see a marker there for that. Just approximate where it is. Approximate. Right about here-ish. In between 0 and -1. Right about there-ish. And then from there, I'm going to go up to right 1. So up to, stay in between the hash marks or whatever. So up to 1, 2, and then what was it, right 5? 1. I'm staying between 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do that again. So this is up to right 5. So up to 1, 2. Notice the dot is in between. So stay in between 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, right there. And connect the dots. Now in red, I'm going to start at a half, okay, which is right about there-ish. Pretty close. And then I'm going to go down 5, right 2. So stay in between here again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right 2. 1, 2. Connect the dots, and they ought to look like they form a 90-degree angle. Oops. Uh-oh. Yeah, a little bit of a curve on that line, but yeah, it looks like they form a 90-degree angle. Remember, 90 degrees look like that. So these are perpendicular. Perpendicular. Perpendicular lines. And the last problems, which I'm going to let you kind of figure these out. All you're doing is determining whether they're parallel. Now, if they're parallel, they have to have the same slope, or perpendicular. That means the slopes are opposite signs, negatives of each other, and then reciprocals. Or the other one is neither, right here. Like it doesn't fit either one of those other two. So the way you would do it is you get every equation set up so y is all by itself. These two are not set up where y is by itself, nor this one. Over on letter A, you got to get the second equation where y is by itself. And then you just compare the slopes and make an answer, determine that. Okay, so with that said, we're finished for today. And I bid you a good day today. And the sun is shining today. Nice rain last night over the weekend. It smells good. Go out and get taking a walk. Keep your distance away from other people though, but take a walk and enjoy the sun that we have today. Until next time, be safe.